as promised, this is the Biz Shizzle, and we're basically talking about 28 years later, which is a long-awaited film. We've both seen it. We've both mentioned it on the podcast, but we're doing a bit more of a spoilery version right now. So if you see like spoiler flash up on the screen, which you won't because I'm not going to put it on there, then you should be aware. I'll put it in the description anyway. Spoiler! We have snuck away from our grumpy landlord, Harry Piles, to do this one. So we're just gonna, yeah, straight up. What did you think about it, Matt? What are your thoughts from opening to sort of finish, really? I'm not gonna ask you to do it all in one go, though.
Right. So opening shot.
Teletubbies.
Is that the first or the last thing that we want to speak about? Is the fact that the story is bookended with the Jimmy,
yeah,
the Jimminess of it, and I think it is good because we mentioned this on the poddy that the opening up with the Teletubbies on screen means that we've set the date for the early 2000s, which is akin to when the first film was set, because it was a contemporary setting and it was made in 2002. So then that fits, and then that was Jimmy. We see Jimmy escape via his dad in the church, who gives him the crucifix and then leads the infected away from him, thus saving his well, no, I mean not saving his life, but allowing for his exit. And then Jimmy features through the film in a couple of ways. There's the person who's hanging upside down, who's been left. That's like on the chest there, and then also there's a long shot of them going past the back of a church, and there's the religious phrasing that something you will be saved in it, and then someone's scrawled on Jimmy. So it's like all the way through we got this Jimmy, and it's like, well, how is this kid gonna introduce into the story? But by the time you get to the end, you've forgotten about Jimmy, and then you're like,
Jimmy,
yeah.
It's mad. I love it. And yeah, so you've got the Teletubbies dates it, the Jimminess of it dates it. I think we've promised spoilers here, so obviously we can say like Jimmy and all of his pals are all dressed like Jimmy Savile at the end.
Wow, yeah. So there's the Jimmy Savile thing, which I don't know whether that was totally intentional, whether they've just.
I think it is.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of people saying it was, and then they've been questioned about it, and they haven't sort of directly said that was an intention. However, there is also the fact that they are also wearing the colours of the Power Rangers. And possibly the Teletubbies as well. So there's a lot going on there. But what I did get a really good quote from Alex Garland in interview, which is that the whole film is concerned with the products of the passage of time, communities, belief systems, what it is to look back and remember, what it is to look back and misremember, or look back and forget.
And
and then this is really interesting because, of course, when if this happened in 2002 and then time stopped, that's almost a decade before Jimmy Savile died, and therefore and so a decade before all of that the scandal actually broke public.
Yeah, so lots of people would have still revered him.
Yeah, so he would have been there, especially a kid of that age growing up. That and the Teletubbies and those things that have been then have become part of their present. Past they've carried through in and the way that it's been maybe misremembered or convoluted into this style, and also the filming of them jumping over the wall with their weapons and everything, doing their parkour. That's Power Rangers, right? That's how Power Rangers was filmed.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever watched Power Rangers. It was
wasn't never my bag really, but
it's because it wasn't CGI, it wasn't particularly acrobatic, so they'd use these close shots of someone going upside down to not have a wide shot of someone probably carrying them, or then probably just twisting the camera around. You know what I mean? So there's a lot in that epilogue that is bang. And the other thing that is really noticeable in that is that the epilogue after you got sort of act 1, 2, 3, and then a little bit later when Spike's setting out on his own is the music. Did you get onto the similarities with 28 Days?
Well, the Young Fathers score is just utterly superb throughout. But I noticed that it started to link back to the wonderful theme tune done by man whose name I can't remember. But yeah, there was like little sort of signature callbacks to it.
Yeah, that were callbacks, although he wasn't on it. But the piece of music that they used at the end of that, where Spike is breaking out on his own, into this world, is East Hastings, which is a part of a 3-act song by Godspeed You Black Emperor. And that's the same tune, slightly different edit of it, that's used at the very beginning of 28 Days Later.
Right. Okay.
So as he is breaking out into that world. Yeah, so the way they've matched those things up is beautiful.
But in general, that score by Young Fathers is just, it really fits the bill so well. It's so different from anything that you've heard on a track. It makes me think of, like, we were talking about the Dust Brothers on the big podcast, and there was nothing like that score when Fight Club came out, and I feel like that they've done a similar job on this with their work on it, and I think it's a perfect choice by Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, that one. The other thing I want to say about the placing it in time and things that will or will not have happened is the Sycamore
Gap Tree. Yeah. So that shows us that we're on an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's still in existence.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting thinking of this whole thing as a different universe.
Yeah.
I noticed that as well. Yeah.
So the slow zombies might be more terrifying to me than the fast ones.
The slow-lows.
Yeah, slow-lows.
Slow-lows.
But one thing that we just don't get explained, or we don't get any kind of resolution, is when Isla and Jodie Comer's character has killed the slow zombie that was about to attack Spike.
So this is interesting because I've got a bit about this actually, because during that, so there, I was kind of firing off into red herring land with Isla's character, because when they camp halfway through and then she kills that slow-low in this rageful killing, and then doesn't remember it. I started following, and I realized it's actually preceded by 28 Weeks Later, where in that, because you haven't seen it, but Robert Carlyle runs away from his family getting attacked, and then he gets reunited with them, but it turns out that his wife and the mother of the kids has partial immunity. And I hadn't quite figured it was that. I started then thinking maybe she's got this partial immunity, and actually what's wrong with her is that she's been infected. I couldn't work out how that would have happened because of the isolation in the island. But when we saw that, the rageful killing, and then the non-verbal communication that she has with the infected pregnant woman, and I'm like, what is going on here? There's some link. So then when there's like, because there was no possibility of it, I wasn't fully believing it. And then when her diagnosis and death, it just it felt really rude.
It was.
Like, that's not on.
I think we were all going down that road, especially, she drops like 5 C-bombs within the first sort of 10 minutes of the film when she finds out Spike's going to the island too young.
Right, yeah.
And she is, and you're going, okay, she's got some sort of version of the rage virus. She must have.
Right, yeah.
So I think they deliberately wanted you to go down that road. But the killing of the slow-low, which I'm now calling now, thank you very much, it was like, what? And it seems like we're going to get no resolution there. Like,
there's no resolution there. That's quite simple. That's Mama Bear.
Don't fuck with Ma.
That's Mama Bear. So
don't fuck with my kids. Yeah.
Something's happened. She's woken up, because obviously we didn't see it. She's woken up and been like, "What? You're going to go after my kid?" bang, taken them out. But yeah, and totally, I think the way that it was filmed and edited and put together was totally to sell us a dummy, and it worked. It worked.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then things like that, it's like providing a laugh before a fall. It just makes the impact of that fall so much more weighty, and then yeah, that was really good, and it turned out to be really beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, and then I saw someone's comment, and so I had to say I've stolen this, but it's like you could always rely on a third act Ray Fiennes.
I mean, yeah, Ray Fiennes is so there's another thing. So it's obviously it's a coming of age story
and a hero's journey.
Yeah, and a hero's journey. So he's got it's like Act 1 is his coming of age, going out with his dad, who's got this sort of one form of masculinity, and then he goes out with his mum, has a very different experience because of the maternal instinct. But then we get Eric put in to add a little bit of external world machismo, and then we get Dr. Kelson, who's just this total like Zen daddy.
Totally.
But is that he's just like, well, okay, we're here. I've worked out how to survive, and I don't know how long I'm going to live for, so I'm going to make this monument.
It's brilliant, and I love the fact when they're telling the story of him when the elders went and sort of saw what he was doing, and they're going, and he's very dangerous, and all these is just see him turning around and waving at them, going, "Come on!" Like it's like, and where the audience are going, "He's not dangerous. He probably sounds like a bit of a laugh." Like I don't think. Yeah, it was really the sort of. It was almost like that dramatic irony that like the elder or the villagers saw what they wanted to see in this, all the bodies and everything, but the audience see this guy going, "Oh, hello."
Yeah, that kind of speaks to the community having become insular, and they are traveling back in time. So folk tales become more powerful because you see them at the celebration, and yeah, so
he lies. Yeah, he exaggerates and he lies. He digs up his son, and his son's not comfortable with it. And
so it's a folk tale, but you've also got a gender division, and the queen, the frame picture of the queen and the tea party, and it's all the women doing the work and the men doing the partying, and they've got regressing, and having Eric in to show us what we know is our modern world as their future world, and that interplay between Eric and Spike is hilarious. I mean, yeah,
it's great. So it's not made any kind of secret that there's a Brexit analogy going on here as well. Like it's
not. Alex Garland has said it's not about Brexit. People think it is, but it's not to do with that. It's more of an exploration into
isolation, I guess.
Isolation, but but I mean, it's definitely surface level. For us to see, it's like the UK is there on its own.
It could be whether it's intentional or not. Like I was sat with my friend Nick, and we just both went Brexit.
I did the same thing as well. Yeah.
So the piece of art is in the world where it's up to us to interpret it, even though they say it's not.
Valid.
It is. You know?
So rather maybe not that it wasn't, but it wasn't that wasn't intentional. That wasn't their intention to do. But what they were doing by retconning 28 weeks was bringing it all back to the UK.
Yeah, because the closing scene of that is they've taken over Paris, isn't it?
But that film is wild and whack, and they didn't really have that much to do with it. So it's really good return to form. I've seen them. I've watched a few interviews with them, and they've been asked obviously why it took them so long to return to it. And there's two bits of that answer. The two one is that 28 days later continued to be popular, and there were screenings of it, and then he was being they were doing Q&As, and so for Danny Boyle to be invited to do Q&As at a film that is X amount of time old, and the the energy for it. There was a real thirst for it, and he'd be like texting Alex, being like, "I think they might want something more." And then there was also the fact that the rights then reverted back to them, which I'm guessing was probably 20 years, because then for that to revert back in 22 would give them a few years to write and produce it. So yeah, it's really good that, and then the way they've reinserted us back into this is really good too, and showing how the virus has evolved, because there was a lot of stuff in 28 Days even was talking about how long the infected stay alive for, and there was a couple of shots of them starving to death on the streets, and then the soldier as well, Christopher Eccleston was keeping the one on the chain so that they could tell him how long they last. And so that was definitely part of how that was written. And then 28 weeks later is actually, that's how the island got so-called cleared. But we are just ignoring that entire
I think it's a little blip.
episode.
Yeah, because there's so much that, because I did a plot synopsis and I watched some YouTube stuff, because I'm like, I don't need to watch it. I feel like, and you were saying as well, you don't need to really. And
no,
so I understand everything that happens in the film. I understand the ludicrous plot as well.
They Hollywoodized it, but also flip-flopped on the sense.
yeah. But this seems like not only in return to form, but like it's a very different film. There's a lot more focus on character. There's a lot more focus on thematic things like love and death in a more of a philosophical sense. But it's also weird. It's a lot weirder than 28 Days Later was. Even though 28 Days Later was obviously about, fast moving zombies, rage infected people. It wasn't hyper, hyper sort of heightened drama, like the stuff you get at the end with the Jimmies and stuff like that. Like you're saying, it's very Power Rangers and stuff like that, but it takes it into a sort of more of a, oh, hang on a minute, this is like action movie. This is it's elevated it to something quite different, but it's done it in a way that doesn't feel too much of a stretch. It's made the world stranger, I guess. Especially with the alphas as well, and even like even the Doctor building the building the skull tower. You wouldn't have imagined that in 28 Days Later. You wouldn't have.
No. So but by revisiting the story world and the story world rather than universe, let's say, we're revisiting that, but also the fact that it's the first of a trilogy. Means that they are doing that world setting.
Yeah.
And the Bone Temple is the name of the sequel, so we're imagining that that's going to return to Kelson's manor. And they filmed them back to back. That's really exciting. And I know that so Danny Boyle's on record as saying that the Jimmies will go on to dominate the second film. And I also know through my digging that Cillian Murphy will be returning, but we don't get to see him until right near the end.
Okay.
Yeah, and then this is where they've it's almost a bit meta. It's almost how like a character like Deadpool breaks the fourth wall and talks about the studio conflicts in our world, in their world. They're being quite honest about it within the storytelling world and be like, we don't have the finance for a third film. By bringing Cillian Murphy in strategically at the end, they're hoping that will help them raise finance for the third. That and the reception of the first two, which so far so good. And then that would be really interesting. So the second film is Jimmy's, and then Cillian Murphy's character comes in at the end, and Cillian Murphy's character is of course called Jim.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So his character's called Jim. Is there some sort of link? I watched the video where it's like, are the Jimmies actually, are they a cult to themselves, or are they a cult to the Uber Gym?
The Uber Gym.
There could be
yes.
the sort of things that also there's some unanswered questions in this. So there's the baby. The baby's gone into the village.
Uninfected.
So Dr. Kelson lets us know that Samson has been roaming around the area for 3 years. That's as an infected, which means that if they have the same gestation period, then that means that's two infected copulating. or possibly an infected copulating with an uninfected woman, because obviously 9 months and then a baby. So you've got this, like the baby would have been born out of some sort of infection. This is assuming that Samson is the dad, and that's certainly been indicated by the fact that he's chasing them down continually wherever they are. He's homing in on where the baby is, and that's really interesting
because he's never been. Dr. Kelsey's never been bothered by them, but he is while Spike is there with the baby.
Yeah.
You know,
he's going
he'll cross those boundaries and go for him with this big, massive knob.
With his big knob, the actor that plays him is like 6'8". So it's like he's a big guy, but that is prosthetic or possibly CG.
So funny. But talking about Cillian Murphy, what about the absolute Cillian Murphy red herring that everyone?
It's not him.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
I was like, Cillian Murphy's returning to the franchise somewhere, and then you see this. He was in the trailer, and I'm like, that seems a bit of a weird leap for Oscar-winning Cillian Murphy to be like, I'm so desperate to be in these films that we're just gonna make Jim just fucked up somewhere along the line, and but it's still alive.
Spike just put an arrow through his head, and then but that's cool. But
no, that is an art dealer by the name of, I've got his name somewhere here. I can't remember it. I'll find it.
All right.
Angus Neal.
Angus Neal.
Yeah, he's an art dealer who actually has a 28-inch waist. So he was perfect to play like an emaciated infected. If you see a picture of him out of makeup, it's like, whoa. He's like, what? So yeah, there's a few other things. Oh yeah, there's a couple of callbacks. One is that the music used in the epilogue, and the narrative mirroring. So that's using the Godspeed You Black Emperor music. But then the other one is the explosion. Because in 28 Days Later, near the beginning, there's the explosion of the petrol station.
Yeah.
And in this, it's a Happy Eater.
Right. Yeah.
Which is really interesting, because it's like Happy Eater. I think actually, did they stop in business and then they came back? But anyway, so it's going.
Yeah, I think they're gone now, though.
Yeah, but there's something interesting in that, because I don't know. Yeah, Eric says it's benzene, but that doesn't carry, because benzene sinks in air. So the fact that it's floating above and they managed to survive above it. So maybe Eric's wrong, but benzene.
I thought that was a bit odd as well. Like, I didn't understand that, what benzene does, but it did seem like odd. It seemed very odd that they both survived in that situation.
Wow, maybe it's Isla's protection.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
And yeah, Isla meaning island, of course. Ooh.
Yes. Yeah. And Spike Island.
Spike Island. Yeah, there's a good one.
Stone Roses gig. Maybe there's a connection.
Yeah. Angel of the North.
Yeah.
Angel of the North is mentioned. That's in Act 2. They walk past it.
Yeah.
So I had to have a little look at that on the map and be like, is that viable? Because they're in Holy Island.
Lindisfarne,
off Lindisfarne, and Angel of the North is 65 miles. It's a 24-hour walk, but I think it would be doable, because we track them for at least 2 days, don't we? So it would be doable, but I don't know what they're eating at that point. Oh, apples, isn't it? They've just got a bag of apples. Going to be getting their back out all the way.
Could that have Garden of Eden vibes? I don't know, but no, I don't think we're going that deep in.
I don't think so. Although there is, I think there is quite a lot of religious.
There's huge amount of symbolism. Yeah, defo. But recording techniques, filming techniques, amazing. They were using DV cams back in the day for 28 days. But I'm sure most people who are watching this have seen that incredible sort of like curved sort of rack thing just full of iPhones that they're doing some of the shots on. That just looks absolutely brilliant. But it's actually created a sort of the bullet time sort of Wachowski approach, where some of the kills are like slowed down, like heads exploding sort of thing, which is really stylized as well. It adds to that sort of hyper realism. And also, speaking of hyper realism, the Adam Curtis-esque sort of cuts to different footage of soldiers and stuff, while the Rudyard Kipling poem Boots is being read in a terrifying sound and voiced by a woman who I have no idea who the person is reading it, but my God, that made every part of that first trip to the mainland so terrifying. You were talking about Jess sinking in her seat. I was doing that. I couldn't sit still. I was so terrified. And then the first ones you see when it all builds up are these slow lows, and they've got the one coming up behind them, and I'm like, if this, because we don't know these people, it's like, so is his dad going to get killed here? They've done it so well that you're not going to go, they're not going to kill his dad at the beginning. Actually, they could kill his dad at the beginning. We don't know. So it made it genuinely terrifying. Like, and yeah, I just love it. I do think there's been Adam Curtis influence in there. And
they did call it a poor man's bullet time for that curved rig. But yeah, slow lows is what Jamie calls them when they first hit the island. By the way,
is it?
That's
Didn't
actually
hear that.
That's what they're called in the film. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so 28 days later, yeah, that shift they actually used. So they use the Canon XL1 mini DV tape camcorders, but they used 8mm film for the flashbacks to give a different appearance. So they wanted that graininess for the main era, and then something nostalgic. And then at the end for the epilogue, they actually step it up to 35mm.
Right.
So when Jim awakes and realizes they've used the curtains as well, and it's really bright and it's really clear, it's like that's part of that.
And it's hope, isn't it? It's hope. It's sort of like it feels hopeful, doesn't it? That last part.
Yeah, it totally feels hopeful because they've got away. They've got to a place of safety because, of course, in that final set of scenes in the house when he's outside, when he's got away from the execution squad, he looks up and he sees a plane flying through.
Yeah,
and they're not alone. So that was 28 days, and then they were speaking about using the rigs, the iPhone rigs, for some of the shooting, and that rig serves the sort of the effect because they can switch from the different views, and it gives that sort of jilted horror type affair. And then they also used it because it was lightweight and they could get in and out and cause the least amount of environmental damage as possible. Because they had to, there was a big challenge for them to find places in the UK that hadn't been agriculturalized,
right?
Because that wouldn't be the landscape. So they had to search for places that were still being run by nature. So they wanted to get in, leave as small a footprint as possible, and get out.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I was reading about how using the iPhones did create some challenges for the special effects. So the CG was done by Union VFX, and so they were, when they fired arrows, the actors would pull and then drop the arrow, and the arrow would be added in CG afterwards.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
That's interesting. And then
good safety method, I would say.
And then obviously that the number of deer that you see, that's been added onto, and there's also some of the people playing the affected were like wearing shorts and shoes, so they had to Tipex them out in computer graphic land and stuff like that. So it's really, really interesting. And then of course we haven't actually mentioned by name the alphas, which is because I did that. Alex Garland talking about how if we're revisiting that now, like what would happen, and you've got the slow lows who have sought to eating through the ground. That's one way to keep their food source up, and then otherwise they would form packs and hunt. So that's where they're going hunting. That's where you get the alphas coming out, and then that's through genetic mutation, and it's taking the people that are already the strongest and then creating alphas out of them. So it'd be interesting what timeline that creates, because I don't know whether the Swedish Navy who got taken out, whether or not some of them who got infected would sort of turn. And it makes me think about the people from the end of the first film. They're all soldiers. Did they have a better chance of that evolution?
Yeah, for they be their training, or they're
stronger.
Yeah. But yeah, I haven't seen spines ripped out of bodies like that since Predator 2.
Right?
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good. I love gory shit. So I hate suspense. I hate being afraid of what is going to happen, but gory shit, I'm just like, it just makes me howl. Like,
I was just grinning all the way through.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, I don't think I found any of it particularly scary. But it's funny because before going, I'd said I don't really, horror isn't my bag. And sure enough, like all the trailers at the cinema were all horror films. And
oh yeah, same. Yeah, I'm sitting there just going, don't want to see that. Don't want to see that.
No. Yeah. So it was a bit like, yeah, horror's not my bag. But then after it, Jess is like, you're totally into horror. Like, I don't know. I'm into dystopian futures and dystopian science fiction often paints that picture, but this is obviously a non-science fiction. But actually, no, it is a science fiction because of virus, I guess.
But yeah, so in terms of sort of like, I guess it's like not a horror fan, but I've loved 28 Days. I've always loved like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's certain films that probably Silence of the Lambs is probably a horror, you know, in a sense, but I think that's for me, like a great film is a great film. So I don't like genre movies, you know what I mean? So, and this is what 28 Years Later does. It defies genre. It's not, you can't place it. And that's Danny Boyle in a nutshell, really, in a lot of his career. It's been groundbreaking, genre-defying films, and so he's not contained by that. So, you know, if you think like Shallow Grave, one of his first features, that's a horror, really, but it's more about the suspense. But if you think about literally chopping up a body and like, you know, it's pretty horrific, but it's also funny. And like, so yeah, I think that I think it defies that horror. But I can't wait. Like, I think we'll wrap it up there, but I really can't wait to see where it's going in the next couple of films.
Yeah, I've got a great quote to finish up on, which is Danny Boyle talking about Alex Garland's writing for the second film, The Bone Temple, and he says, "This is the most original piece of writing I've seen since A Clockwork Orange."
I mean,
think about the Jimmies, you know what I mean?
Chef's kiss. It is 100%. Yeah. Ultraviolence. Yeah. Wow. Perfect, man. Perfect.
So January, that's the other thing to say, a little factoid there, that it's coming out in January. It's coming out exactly 28 weeks later after the first film.
Yes. Yes. Well, I look forward to it, and I'll see you on the next Biz Shizzle. Listen to us. It's got on all the platforms. Comes out 25th of July. It'll be out from then. Session 6 of the Biz Shizzle. Find us on here on all your Instagrams and stuff like that, innit? And
all of that. We'll be out in the town wearing iodine, blending in with the girls in the bars.
Boss.